welcome everyone to this week's Deal Finder Corner. So this is your weekly property talk show brought to you by Property Filter, hosted by myself, Guillaume Black, your favorite Frenchman. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Property Filter. It's the UK's highest rated platform to find deals. And as you know, we're on a mission to empower our property investor and deal sourcer members to find another 1,000 deals this year, like they did last year, thanks to the Property Filter blueprint. And the purpose really with these Deal Finder Corners where we meet every Thursday is to give you more and the best of the available resources by inviting expert guests who will share with you the latest and most current strategies, tactics, and secrets about what actually works right now in terms of finding and making deals and the reality of systemizing and running a high-performance business in property. So it really is my pleasure today to introduce you to my very dear friend, Mr. Adam Goff. So Adam scaled and exited his London business, which was the first rent-to-rent co-living community, so Capital Living, which is scaled from 2009 and exited in 2021, which allowed him to financially retire ever since. He's now based in Bali, and he literally commutes every month back to the UK to prepare and deliver the workshops as the head trainer of the Property Entrepreneur Program, which you would have heard me, sing praises and talk about, quite a bit. So this is really where we met 4 years ago. And I think stating that I'm a totally different person now from where I was 4 years ago at that time is an understatement. So driven by his values of health, wealth, life by design, Adam is a true master of intentionality, high performance, and execution. And today is really a chance to ask him anything on how we can achieve anything we want in life, really. So we're going to have more of a conversation today, so Adam and I. So please ask your question you have for Adam in the chat, and as we go along, I'll try to go through them. So yeah, I'm really, really happy and excited to have you on today's Deal Finder Corner. And please give a massive Property Filter virtual welcome to Mr. Adam Goff. And let's get straight into it. So
hi everyone,
Adam,
welcome. Thank you for having me.
So yeah, Adam, so what's this thing about living in Bali and commuting every month? Like, what's this all about, yeah?
Why does anyone get into business for themselves? Because we don't just want to do what everybody else does. We don't just want to live the 9 to 5. We've got our own version of our life that we want. That's what it was for me. For a lot of people, it's freedom, legacy. And so this life by design, this is how I see my life going, is very important to me. And I realized I wasn't going to get that from working for someone else or being in the army as I was for a brief time. And so all you're really seeing is my latest version of the life I want to live. And it's changed over the years. And I can share that with you because there was a time where my perfect life was actually scaling my London property business and absolutely loved it for the time I was doing it. But I knew it wouldn't be forever because I knew I wanted to build some wealth and then go and, live on a tropical island. So.
Yeah. And you've had a few tries at staying in different tropical places, as I know, which is awesome. So you talked about the London business. So can you tell us a bit more about Capital Living? So what's been the business, the journey, and things around it?
Absolutely. It'd be really good to know if anyone here is looking to source rent-to-rent deals, or that's the strategy they've looked at. You could raise your hand or put something in the chat just to give me an idea. But it's the same as any deal sourcing, I guess. The Capital Living just came about because I wanted to invest in property and I only had £12,500 that I'd saved up from running another business. I was 24, 25 at the time, so minimal experience and not a lot of kudos when you're trying to go in front of landlords or agents. But I think really the big thing was that timing is everything with that business. I think, starting a business like that then when there was economic difficulty, a bit like there is now, and maybe some of you are sat there thinking this is not a very good time to do deals or to actually get mortgages or borrow money, because the media is programming us. Because at the end of the day, you've got to think that if you want to make it, you've got to kind of look what everyone else does and do the complete opposite. And I think all I did in 2009 when I started a rent-to-rent company was look at the opportunity. There was lots of empty houses, and the fact that everyone was scared, and I offered someone a guaranteed rent, which is now known as rent-to-rent. Rent-to-rent's not an old thing. It's been around for decades, by the way, and just took my chances. But that chance now, or not necessarily now, but, 5 years later, when everyone was doing the exact same thing in my area, that the opportunity kind of had gone. So timing is very important. And I think whatever strategy you're looking at, I'd say there's a good opportunity now with the market being like it is to actually make your moves, even though all your friends and family and parents and whatever brothers and sisters are telling you not to do anything. I don't know if that's something you discussed, Guillaume, but I do think
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
quite
very
a big
much so.
opportunity right now. Mm.
On capital living, did you, and it's a question I meant to ask you for a while, did you approach, because a lot of the Property Filter members or people, in property or starting in property, now or in the last couple of years, they'll have the mindset of, I'm 2 deals away from this goal, I'm 5 deals away from this goal. Did you approach it in terms of how many houses you need, or in terms of, because you've got more of a business, background, did you think of it like what's the business model, what's the balance, and the commercial balance and things like that? Did you get in with like a business head, or more with like, I need so many houses to achieve my goal?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, and thanks for people that have direct messaged me saying that they're looking to source rent-to-rent deals. By the way, I don't sell rent-to-rent courses or anything. I'm not a rent-to-rent. I wouldn't
Yeah.
even call myself a rent-to-rent trainer or anything. I just did it. So your question was, no, I think I was an entrepreneur first. So I came at it from a business angle. And really all that, all we talk about when you're going to start a business is you need to have a business model, which is basically how you make money. I buy something for £5, I sell it for 10, it costs me 2, I make 3. It's like, that's as simple as a business model is. And obviously when we're looking at deals, it's like a deal stacker. I take a property, I rent it for 4,000. I rent it from the landlord for £4,000 a month. I let it for £7,000 a month. It costs me £1,000 a month in bills. I'm left with £2,000. And I modeled that. We found a house. We didn't get it right the first time. We had to split another room in half and create extra revenue because we didn't get what we made a load of us. When you do a business model, as you know, Guillaume, and you do with Property Filter, you make assumptions. We think our client's going to pay this until you actually get clients paying that. You don't know, and maybe it's more, maybe it's less, and maybe you thought you were going to get 10, you end up getting 100, or maybe you thought you were going to get 100 and you get 10. So basically, we just made some assumptions, did a house, did a deal, figured it out, and then we had the model, and that model didn't change for 12 years. Like the margins kind of fluctuated, but the model didn't change. And I went from going, okay, we want 1, and then this next sweet spot was 10, because I had one guy running it. 10 rent-to-rents, in my experience, is about the amount that one person can run. If anyone's thinking of getting into rent-to-rent,
In terms of property management, is it, Adam?
Without going bananas, because it's once you get 50, 60 tenants and everyone's stealing each other's milk and they're all leaving and they're doing viewings, and you get yourself in a complete tailspin. And until you start building a business around you with VAs to support you and systems and things like that. So we got to 10, and then we kind of experienced the first, it was a bit creaky. And then I got to about 25. And at that point, I'll be honest with you, I was completely burning out. I didn't have good people around me. I'd have days where I didn't want to do anything, which for me is completely not who I am. And so that's when I had to, I kept reaching these levels where I would hit a ceiling and have to figure out how to break through to the next ceiling. And for me, I got as far as 50 rent-to-rent, and that was the limit. I kind of, at that point, I didn't break through. I decided to exit because I'd achieved financially what I wanted to do, which I'm happy to share. So
that's interesting. So because we all thought, we should be doing more deals, grow, and there's actually a few questions in my question. So how did you assess those levels? And then the second question is, we thought to do more deals, so, and it feels like this is the end, so the deals you do will fund your beach, lifestyle on the beach. So why did you sell? It seems quite a contrarian idea, for most people.
That's a good question. So I actually could talk about this quite a lot recently. I think a lot of people are definitely programmed to just go and like keep going, and growth is the answer. And we have a saying on Property Entrepreneur, which is that more revenue doesn't equal more profit. And if you get what you focus on, so if you focus on more, you could have 100 rent-to-rents that are making £100 each. I'd rather have 10 that are making £1,000 each. It's like, so we do have this kind of almost instinctive animal nature to that more is better. And that absolutely is not the case. the thing that saved my business during COVID when all my competitors went bust was that I had good margin in all my properties, and I had a lot of cash from the money that I'd made over the years saved. And so I was always not pushing it too hard. I learned from experience. I did push it too hard a couple of times and get a bit close. And I realized that there's no point being the biggest and baddest. It's actually better to be the leanest and most profitable. So when people are thinking about the number of deals is the most important, I would say you're focusing on the wrong thing. If you focus on the number of deals, you'll get a lot of deals. But actually what you want is the cash flow, the money per month, or the equity gain, or the profit at the end. That's actually what counts. So this other stuff is, who's heard turnover is vanity and profit is sanity? Has anyone heard that saying? Yeah. No one ever heard that? It's like, it's the best advice ever, because social media is like programming us to go bigger and badder and more and more. And some people need a kick, Guillaume. Some people who are sat there with nothing and they haven't done anything, they do need a kick. But often I find with the high performers, you've got to stop them growing themselves broke or growing themselves bust, because you can run out of money and you can be doing too much. And if you have a business that doesn't make, these deals aren't making money, or you get into a refurb and the margin disappears, you're just a busy fool.
So you reached a commercial balance, then you went to another step and another step. And then you went to the 50 houses. So why did you sell at that stage,
So I always was working on my exit. And when I was 4 years in, I decided I wanted to be able to sell the company when I got to my late 30s, because going back to this life by design thing, which for those people that just joined is what I'm all about. I think you've got such a short window of life, frankly, that we're all going to die, and we've got to make the most of it. That's just my belief. And it's something that drives everything that I do. I don't want to waste a second. So I had like a life plan, and it was like, look, by this age, I want to be able to get out. And so it took me longer than I wanted to work out how to really make the profit in capital living and keep it, which is like a whole different skill. But when I learned that around 2016, I started to bank serious amounts of money. Before, for a long time, I had a really busy, successful business. We were in the papers, we were on TV. Everyone was like, wow, Adam, your business is so amazing. I was like, yeah, it's great, and I'm having a good lifestyle, but I'm not actually banking money. Like, I'm not actually putting away, 100 or a couple of $100,000 a year in the bank. And whereas only when I started to do that, I realized I wanted to plan my exit and buy a few properties myself that were just going to become part of what we call financial fortress, which is I think what most people would probably want, which is a set of boring assets like property, vanilla buy-to-lets or something that just provides them a safe and secure income for life. And that is really what I think everybody around here would like. Who doesn't want one of those, right? Everybody wants one of those. I want one of those. So if you stick to the end of the Zoom call, I'll give them out afterwards. I'm only joking, right? But that's what everybody wants. So that's what I started working on, that as a plan B, as my exit strategy. And when COVID happened, and we did lose hundreds of thousands of pounds, in 6 months, we were losing 60 grand. I don't want to scale off rent to rent, but I was making a lot of money. But then on the flip side, when I had empty rooms in COVID, I lost a lot of money. And when you lose a couple of $100,000, it stings. But I realized at that point that I had my financial fortress. I had my living expenses covered by my properties. And so I didn't need to be in this business anymore. It served its purpose. And actually, when we came out of lockdown and there was a bounce back and the market was buoyant, I exited the business, made a load more money. And that's when because I was ready to leave London like I'd always planned to. And you've seen, actually, I think, in my notebook, I wrote that I wanted to exit when I was 37 and leave, or have the option. And weirdly, I didn't look at that for 7 years until I packed up my flat. But I sold my business when I was age 37, and I'd written it in my journal 7 or 8 years before. It was really scary. So I hope I've answered your question now. But that's why I decided to sell, because it had achieved its purpose. And then my life by design was never to live in London and grow up my kids there. And I just didn't, that wasn't what I wanted. That is for some people, but it wasn't for me. So it was all part of the plan.
So you touched actually here, for maybe people don't know, but a lot of the stuff you shared where I can relate to some of the blueprints you share on Property Entrepreneur. So you talked about, your journal and intentionality. You talk about your life by design and the plan. So you have your long game where you plan sort of what you want for next year, in the next 5 years and things like that. We talked about financial modeling of your business, and this is what drove the model as to how you build it. So it might be worth having a quick loop back into the blueprint, you know. So for those who have joined a bit later, so you are the head of property entrepreneur, and you delivered, you know, you're also the head of the 8 trainer, and you deliver the workshops for the property entrepreneur, you know, like this, we on behalf of Dan Hill, which we've had a few times. And so that's where you are now. So how long have you been teaching on PE, and how long have you been teaching the blueprint?
I've been teaching it since 2017, and I mean, Dan and I scaled the business from 10 people to over 160 clients now. So 10 clients to 160. We're very happy with the number of the size. We feel like we get to know everyone really well, and we help them on their journey, like, you know, like we've done with you. And so that's that background. The whole.
How did you end up, you know, being the head of PE? Like, what's the sort of the founding story, as you were, of you being involved with Dan and growing property entrepreneur to what it is today?
I think, like, to be totally frank about training courses, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of hot air. There's a lot of people I never believed, and I never really bought into training courses, like, even though I funnily now sort of sell them. And when I met Dan, like, genuinely hand on heart, I knew I met someone who had my problems. Like, I was in business, and I'd been in business since I was 16, and so had he. And the way he wrote and he spoke, I believed him. Like, I knew he knew what I knew. It was like there was no fluff, no smoke. So I was attracted to his articles, and I just rang him and said, "Look, I want to work with you." And he said, "Well, look, come and be on my board," which is his group of his mastermind group. And we got to know each other, and after the first year, he helped me. My business became 40% more profitable in year 1. And so I was the high performer in the first year, and he said, "Look, why don't we go and, you know, I want to grow the business. Let's do it. Let's kind of do it together." And at that point, I helped him with the training. So luckily, I had the experience going into it to be able to, because ultimately, you want to know if the most expensive advice in life is free advice. Like, it's like, people have their own opinion about things, and that's cool. But it really, like, I think the thing that I'm quite passionate about is that I want to hear from someone who's actually done it, and that's why you hold these webinars, right? It's like, genuine people who have actually done it. Like, show me what you've done, and then I will believe you. And so the reason why Property Entrepreneur works for me is because the life by design is the focus, and we have this wealth, health, life by design values, and they're my values. So the whole thing for me is literally just being myself. And if I can help people go from a life that they've got, but they want something different, if I can help them on that journey using our blueprints, then that is amazing to me, and it inspires me to do better in my life. That's why.
So you mentioned about the blueprint. So can you sort of share a bit of an overview about the blueprint?
Yeah. So
why do you call it the blueprint as well? You know, like something I meant to ask you for a while.
Yes. Well, so the whole thing is that actually, like, the secret is it's not rocket science. Like, what we do, what the high performers like Guillaume have done, there is no, like, for those people that are thinking like success is this mystery that only some people can do for whatever reason, it isn't like that, actually. Like, actually, our saying is that success and failure are very predictable. If you follow these steps and you actually do it, you will actually get there. But you can't have everything in life, but you can have the things you go after. So our goal is to try and debunk the myth of it being this thing for just a few people, and try and make it simpler. And we have these hundreds of blueprints, one of which, like Guillaume said, is like a life by design blueprint, which we call the long game, 5 years. And everyone's heard of vision boards. This is like 5 areas of your life where you want to be year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we make it a grid, and you build it. It's like a detailed vision board with specific targets. Like that,
and
for example.
Isn't it? Sorry, Adam. Isn't it one you brought? Isn't it one you brought? So some of the blueprints Dan would have done, some you would have created. Isn't it one of yours?
It is, Guillaume. Thanks. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff is mine. I mean, I must say, Dan is the content genius. He really is very good at this. He has the skill of turning complex things and making them simple. And yeah, so this process of designing your life for the next 5 years and having a very clear target is what I was doing. And then we adopted it. It's just one of hundreds of blueprints for us. So,
and the blueprints, they have different categories. Is it it's all about life? Is it all about, you mentioned about the values and?
Yeah, thanks. So our blueprints. So we believe that if you look at the most successful people in the world, they are entrepreneurs. And the reason for that is because we live in a capitalist society at a very, very high level. You just want to know, if you've been doing a certain job or doing a certain thing for a while, and wondering why you're not getting the results, it's because you work for someone else. The people that control the jobs and control the companies, they're the wealthiest. Like 8 of the top 10 wealthiest people in the world will be entrepreneurs. So because we live in a capitalist society, the skill of capitalism, the skill of buying something and selling it for a profit, is the skill you need to learn to be successful or to build wealth and to have freedom, because you're in control of your time, because you don't work for someone else. So actually, what Property Entrepreneur is a business course. We're a business course that layers in, the business is the vehicle to getting the life you want. The business will generate you the money, it will give you the skills, it will make you a better person. And just like the gym will give you the body you want, the gym and what you eat will give you the body you want, a business will give you the wealth and freedom that you want. So we teach you how to run a business, and we just do it within the property space. So rather than focusing on deals and being on property courses, Guillaume bridges this double gap where he's also scaling a business, and we bring the entrepreneur skills, the skills of a capitalist, to property, because too many people focus on the deal and they don't understand hiring team members, getting VAs to help them. They're doing it all themselves. They get burnt out. They wonder why they're not making progress, because we're only good at so many skills. We can't do everything ourselves. So we need to leverage tech, team, money, like we do by getting debt. We need to leverage these entrepreneurs like tactics. And that's what we're all about. That's what we're about.
And what have you learned, like you being in this environment for a few, like, is it 8, 9 years or something like that, 9 years, yourself being in this environment and also teaching high performer property entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I'd say one of the biggest things I've learned is that success doesn't just happen overnight. There's no silver bullet, unfortunately. It's not anyone who's selling get rich quick or whatever. It's just nonsense. Like the really boring and hard truth is that everybody who's successful has a lot of discipline, and they've basically trained themselves or followed a process to just get there. And it's actually loads of little steps. It's not like big leaps. Like everyone looks at someone and go, wow, how did you do that? And it's like, the truth is they've been doing it for a long time, slowly and consistently, and they just deliver on their promises. That is the difference between people who talk about it and people who actually do it. And, I used the weight example earlier. I heard a quote the other day about, I don't know, it was like something on Instagram, but it was like, do steps and go to the gym and eat well for a month and you'll feel better. Do it for 3 months, and your partner will notice. Do it for 6 months and all your friends will notice. Do it for a year and, everybody notices. It's like, it takes time of doing the thing and you get there. But yeah, it's like the small steps. I'd say like setting a goal in small steps is the truth.
So how do you sort of break down this? Maybe you'll have a vision of, a destination, and what's the sort of tactically, how do you break it down into your daily steps and habits and things like that?
I just got just like the college chat. I'm an overnight success, founded in 1977. Chris, I absolutely love that. It's hilarious. I love it. It's brilliant. It's so true. We have this saying, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Do not get swept up in the life by design. Its opposite and its enemy is life by comparison. And we have a world, unfortunately, now where we're fed everybody else's success on a daily basis, 10 times a day, 20 times a day, how good everyone else's life is. It's absolute, and it's the worst thing for us, because we're just constantly comparing ourselves in all those areas, and all you're getting is the highlight reel, the best day of the year or the best day of the month, and it's just nonsense. So you've got to stick to your own plan, and it does take a long time, unfortunately. It's not sexy, doesn't sell, but
so what's the mechanism of when you say sticking to your own plan? But I think most people struggle, and I believe the first step of the blueprint is about gaining clarity. So how do you sort of, before sticking to your own plan, sort of make the plan and be quite clear that it's the right plan and it's worth, focusing on it and be undistracted by anything else, for a period of time?
Yeah, so we, with our clients, we'll make them spend 3 months a year thinking about the next year. So the big thing that I learned when I started working with Dan is that I was making decisions very quickly and not giving it enough thought. And these are big decisions. And I think we're probably all a little bit guilty of that. It depends on our personality type. So the big thing is you don't want to set your annual goals on New Year's Eve down the pub. It's like, this is how you're going to spend the next 365 days of your life. You deserve better than that. So we literally force our clients. We won't let them, we don't teach them the business strategies. We don't teach them how to recruit or anything in autumn. Between October and the first, like the early Jan, we just give them exercises and introspective questions to figure out where they want to be in 5 years, what's important to them, what don't they like about their last 12 months, like what really upset them or annoyed them they don't want to stop. And you ask them all these detailed questions about what they'd want more of in their life, what's lacking. And we have the wheel of life, which many people may have heard of. And we ask them to look at their relationships, their finances, their health, where they live, and their hobbies and their work and their career and their family. And we ask them to look at all these and score it. And then that will inform the strategy. And Guillaume, because you've done it a number of years, like going deep like that is something that we're all too busy to do. Like it's really easy to never do that. But because we don't invest the time in thinking, we just get superficial results that maybe isn't what we wanted, or we don't really commit to because we're not actually investing enough time in the goal setting part. We just want to get on and do the thing. Actually, you could spend your life climbing a ladder that's completely up against the wrong wall. And I don't know if anyone here can resonate with that. You thought you wanted something, you got to the end of it. You thought you wanted to be the manager at work, you got there. You're like, this is terrible. I never wanted this, but it took me 10 years to get there. Like you need to pick carefully what you go for because we don't have long. So you might as well be, please invest time to think about the future. So that would be our first step of the blueprint. We actually get everyone to do that process.
Yeah. I think some French wise man said that your summers are won in the autumn, isn't it? So your sales seasons are won in the autumn preparation. So yeah, that's some of the insights.
And you reap what you sow. Absolutely, it's like So if you're not happy with where you're at, one of the big game changers is to actually just take responsibility and say, I'm not happy with this area of my life. Well, I want more from it. I'm not done. And then it's actually stop blaming everyone else. It's your fault. What am I going to do about it? And then I inform the strategy. So yeah, that's what we do, and that's probably quite an important thing for everyone to take away.
And going back a little bit with your your own situation and your own clarity and things. So can you tell us a bit about your long game? Like this exercise of your 5 years vision or the one you had before. Let's say to put yourself or for people who've got businesses now and they're thinking, like, oh, on earth, if I write it down, will I exit in 7 years? And manifesting it to the right year like you did. So can you tell us a bit more about the long game? What was it like for you when you set it out, and then a bit more about this skill you teach about journaling and manifestation and things like that?
Sure. Yeah. Do you want me to show you my long game? Do you want me to show you it?
All right. Okay.
Would anyone like to see it? Cool. So this is my long game that I set when I was 34. So 2018. Sorry for formatting. It's obviously Zoom's not liking it. And my first year, so I've blocked out the numbers. I don't know if you can see my sort of mouse.
Hang on. Yeah. All good. Yeah.
That's the next one. I'll show you in a second. So year one, if you look at the bottom, ladies and gents, so year one was about firm foundations. So I had a successful business, but I had some shaky moments where I was worrying about money and losing sleep over like not being able to pay for a new refurb or something like that. I was always pushing myself too thin. So the first year was just money in the bank. Don't be worried about money, build some firm and rebuild the business for firm foundations. And if you look across, we talk about, so I had a profit number in there that's blacked out. We talk about the 4 stages of a business: the headline strategy stage, the form stage, which is right at the early days of a business. And then I had what I wanted to do to give back. I wanted to do stuff for charity. I wanted to have specific numbers, buy myself a moped. It was like, it's all a game. Like this first year was about just building the firm foundations for the house I was going to build, you know, the life effectively, and giving myself a nice fun reward at the end. And
So Adam, just on this, that's really interesting because
yeah,
you started out by saying it's actually like to be successful, it actually takes longer, you know, I'd want, you know, it's not going to happen overnight. So I'm just going to invest the next 12 months just on building the foundations. Then I'll be sharpening the axe, you know, so you've got like 2 years of prep, you know, before, you know, you go and push things. So I think
exactly.
that can be a wake-up call for most people who think like, okay, I want to buy 20 properties this year and you know, get it all sorted by the end of July kind of stuff. So okay, what's the thought
This is it.
process
So
behind it?
yeah, so Abraham, the sharpen the axe. So Abraham Lincoln said, if you give me 8 hours to chop down a tree, or words to those effect, I'll spend the first 6 hours sharpening the axe. You know, one of the most successful men in history. So it's like the point is, and the whole thing around autumn and 3 months for your year is like you're not spending enough time being strategic. We call it being strategic, which means thinking through a game plan for what you're going to achieve. We're all too busy just starting and taking action. But actually, the big thing I learned when I started working with Dan was how much he thought about what he was going to do before he did it. I just did things. I was like, I'll just do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll take it. You know, and I created a mess. And so, in the same way that we spend 3 months a year thinking about next year before January, I actually spent a whole year and then another year learning new skills to take me to the next level, which was, you know, the exit. And you can see at the top I had optional exit. And I haven't edited this. This is what I did a long time ago. You can see the format is pretty bad. And it just took me through. And you know, the key things in life, I talked about the wheel of life, key things you want. You know, for me, it was how old I am, the profit I'm going to make, what I was going to do to give back to charity, and my numbers and the rewards at the end. And that's what's across the top. They were the things, the milestones that I wanted to achieve. And it was like spending time with my mom, reconnecting with my dad. It was like there were things, you know, that I just wanted. And they were like big things that I put in. So that's an idea of a long game. And I'll show you my next one. This is my current one. So from the age of 23, where I'd sold my business, and I'll put you to the left. So you got the year of the surrender experiment, and basically it was about actually I just sort of figuring out what I was going to do again. You know, just to like basically listen to the universe and just decide this is actually what I want. And then this is the opposite way around. This goes from age 39 to 43, and it's about leaning in, scaling the company, building a villa in Bali, you know, reaping the financial rewards of scaling the company, deepening my relationship with my girlfriend, you know, doing a bucket list together, and getting ready to be a dad. And all these things are mapped out. It's mapped out. And then now I've got a plan. I find that very exciting. This is what I look at when I'm stressed out or whatever. I just have this as my, you know, as my lock screen. So.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and what I've always admired is all these things happen, you know. So you say about you know, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And when you are intentional, you remove all the noise, and you know the direction is really clear. And it's been really interesting to see all these boxes get ticked, you know, like since I've known you since 4 years. Do you think you?
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, like honestly, it's everyone here doesn't really know me, but honestly, it's scary. Like I was going to show you. So let me show you the. I just want to let me share my screen. I'll show you one more thing, and I'll take your question. So I was going to show you the. I've got my notebook. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is the law of attraction in action. All right. So I wrote this in 2014. Oh, here we go. I wrote this in 2014. It was this is all about my business. Ignore the scribbles. But it was about how I was going to create a marketing team in Blue. I was going to get 150 properties. I didn't get there. Obviously, it was 50. I was going to do this, that, and everything else. But the key thing is in the middle. Exit 2021, age 37. And I wrote that when I was 2014. So, like, you know, it's nuts. And I'm not sat there saying, you know, you can write something down and you'll get it. That's not what I'm saying for the cynics amongst you. I'm saying I wrote something down and I didn't look at it for 7 or 8 years, but I had like a plan, I was very focused, and subconsciously or consciously, I was taking action for the next 7 years to do it. And I got there. And now the long game I just showed you is a more detailed version of that notebook. It's like, it's a much more detailed plan. And so the more detailed you get, the more specific you are, the more the brain knows what to focus on. And it's like, it's all a game. So we need to use these things. Someone's asked a question about goal setting, actually. Sometimes the goal setting doesn't really work, it evolves and changes dynamics. It's a little bit of thing. Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say to answer Usha, if I pronounce your name right, to answer your question, it's like, absolutely. Like, the whole joy in life is the flexibility of it. But you probably have some milestones that you want. You want to pay off debt in your house. You want to have a family. You want to get married. You want to, I don't know, get a six pack. Like, you probably have some things that you want. And then the question to you is like, before you set random goals, thank you for the pronunciation, is like, the question I always ask myself every year when I do this exercise is, if I died tomorrow, what would I regret not doing? And it sounds morbid, but it's like, seriously, like, I don't want to, when I go, I don't want to have any regrets. And so I ask myself that question all the time. And whether it's taking my dad to the F1 or spending lunch with my grandpa or catching up with a friend, it's like, I literally write lists every autumn and they inform my next 12 months. So I know that I'm free of, we've all got those things you want to do, but and please don't, I'm not trying to like this. I feel free because I've done those things and I continue to do them. I don't feel like I've got unfinished business. That's an amazing feeling, I think.
And on that, I was listening to you passionately. I forgot what I wanted to ask you. And I was just bouncing on that on the bucket list, and you've done some incredible things, So I think you're right. It's absolutely, you need to write these things down, otherwise you never get the time to schedule them or make them happen. So if it's retreats with the monks or retreats in the middle of the Amazon forest, or sailing across the Atlantic, or doing all sorts of fantastic things, that you really embody these things about executing on the bucket list. These are
all things I've done, and I'd say the important things to focus on is that the thing that allowed me to do it is what everyone here is in this community for, which is the skill of capitalism. Like, it's buying and selling things for a profit. It's adding value. It's like this is the society we live in, and it's so simple, but it's like, you're absolutely in the right place, because learning these skills puts you in the top few percent, because it's what very few people are taught to do and able to do. So yeah, I appreciate everyone being here for this great little community you guys have got.
Oh, thanks a lot, Adam. On that, do you say like reaching the top percentile of people out there and things like? Do you feel like the process and the years being in this environment and teaching it, how has that changed you?
How has it changed me?
Yeah, like, are you the same person than when you first gave Dan this phone call, in 2014 or whenever that was? Is it like your business? Do you step change, or is it like linear incremental, or are they like big revelations and insights, and then in a short period of time you become you just step change to another level, if we can say level, or another place?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, like, I'd say on some level, I'm still the same person, and my parents brought me up really well. They said, you don't care if it's the queen or the queen, you treat them the same. So I'm still the same person. But on the other side of the coin, I'm a completely different person. So when I say like the business is a vehicle for change, our success is literally determined by our mindset, and we get in our own way. So I've had to keep getting out of my own way and keep becoming a better version of myself. And probably the big thing that attracted me to being on stage and teaching these blueprints was that I had nowhere to hide. And when you teach something, you actually get better at it. There's that whole saying, right, if you can't, you teach, fine. But actually, when you have to stand there and in front of people and tell them, you have to understand it better, and you can't be a phony. So I'd say that it has definitely changed me, and I've had to work through my edges. For example, like my ego has had to dissolve. You know, like
This
I
is where I was getting
really,
at. This is where I was
yeah,
getting at, Adam. Yeah.
yeah. I was a very, like you said, I was a very confident young man, and obviously I'm still confident now, but I think I was in my own way, and I wasn't able to. So a big thing for me, just to like be a bit vulnerable, was I wasn't able to ask for help because I had had some success at a young age, and I thought I knew it all. And every level has another devil. No one's done. The best athletes in the world still have coaches. Like, so everyone needs help, but obviously you've got the hard part is finding someone you trust. So that was my big thing was, and that was where Dan really helped me because he helped me get out of my own way. Um, so yeah, I think that was probably number one, was just asking for help and then being able to take feedback. So realizing that I wasn't always right, having clients give me honest feedback, and we, you know, again, we invite feedback from our clients every
Yeah.
month. And when the feedback is right, it really stings. Like it really stings. Like you get upset about it. That's when you know someone's really like really giving you good feedback. Like they,
Have I
you know,
upset you a few times, maybe?
probably, yeah. It's like when it feels a nerve, like you know, anyone gets upset with anyone else, it's because it's probably right. That's what I've realised. So I'd say that yeah, I'd say that they've been the big personal development things for me. But that's the beauty of it. It is a ever evolving thing, and the business is like the vehicle that gets that change. So all the challenges you face in the business makes you a better person. That's like
I
that's
know.
the beauty.
On the topic of becoming a better person, and you mentioned your values and the ones of property entrepreneurs, so health, wealth, life by design. So can we touch a bit on health and the type of the person it requires you to become to, you know, be an high achiever and basically tick all your goals on the long game and things like that.
Yeah, so it's a really good point, and I think like basically what everyone does is they sacrifice health for money. You know, this is when you are working late, burning the candle at both ends. Who's heard that? You know, who's done it? Everyone.
Doing it every day. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Especially if you're in the community and you like want more. You're used to pushing. Like you know, you sacrifice.
Oh, have I lost Adam? Anthony? Yeah. Have you lost Adam as well? Yeah, it's frozen. Yeah. Well, we'll get him back. Right. Okay. Thanks a lot. Hotel Wi-Fi, I'm guessing. No, who finds that that was interesting so far? We'll try to get him back.
Yes, very interesting so far.
Do drop any questions, quick fire questions you've got in the chat, and we'll try to go through these when Adam comes back, and I should be a minute really. Anthony, can I ask you to mute? There we go. Yeah, so I don't know how much you knew Adam or not, but he's actually part of this Dan Hill's program I've done for the past 4 years, coming to the end of the 4th year now. And every summer, basically, they run 3 days events, and it's all they do. They have 3 days in June, 3 days in July, which they've done this week. And then the last event of the year is sometime in August. And for those of you who are interested, got Dan Hill actually tomorrow, same time tomorrow, 1:30 p.m., who's going to do more of a deep dive on the blueprint, sharing some insights on that. So if that's of interest, so it's another one of these calls. So if you think there's Adam who delivers the workshops, and the creator, if you like, Dan Hill, is coming to do a bit of a bonus masterclass tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. and
Sorry,
talking more about the blueprint itself. Oh, no worries. We froze for a minute, but
I
You
was saying
carried on
it's not
talking. You
cool.
carried on
I
talking,
was
did
saying
you?
well, I was just saying it's not cool when it's not cool when the internet, the power goes out in the hotel. The power just went out for about a minute, so I do
Oh, really?
apologize. But
Oh, wow, okay.
all good. It's all good. So my sentiment was just take care of yourself, and it's not all about making money and doing deals. If you work yourself into the ground and you don't have any health at the end, what's it all for? So not a lot of people are pushing look after yourself, get your steps in, get outside, to have some time off your phone, messaging. But like, make no mistake about it, being an entrepreneur is really difficult. It's really stressful. It's really hard. It's why most people don't do it. It's like there's a lot of risk, and if you're not taking care of yourself mentally and physically, it's like it literally is guaranteed almost. So we really take that seriously, and all our health take a toll. But we need to just put those credits back in the bank account. That'd be my sentiment on that point, just to finish it off. So.
Yeah, and then going back to what you were saying about breaking it down in simple steps, I know one of the blueprints you have is around the handful of habits and having, focusing on a few things and a few practices. There's something you want to share about what you do and what, how people could go about designing their own handful of habits?
Yeah, a great little hack for people just to kind of set them up would be, I mean, well, I have these definitely 3 non-negotiables every day. And I'll try and do 5 things. So for me, it's always getting 7 hours of sleep. So what you don't want to do is like get too obsessed with very, very small things. The big things are the most important. So if you don't get 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and everyone's different, it's proven like you're literally hungover if you haven't had sleep. So you need sleep's the most important. If you're not sleeping, you've got to address why. Is it caffeine? Is it stress? What is it that's causing the lack of sleep? If you're not hydrated, then your concentration levels drop off. Everyone's seen the stats. It's ridiculous. So you've got to get 2 to 4 liters of water, and you've got to move your body, because we're not designed to sit on this Zoom call. Like if I could have done this Zoom call walking around the Belfry, I would have done it. And normally if you catch me on a Zoom call, I'm on my treadmill, because the body, we're hunter gatherers, like we're chimpanzees. We're designed to walk around and like gather nuts in the forest. Like we're not designed to sit on Zoom. So it's okay to turn up to the Zoom call on your treadmill next time. Like it's fine. In fact, we would applaud you, and you might actually start a trend where everyone starts doing it. Like and if we do that, then we're like ticking the sort of non-negotiable boxes, right? Like we need to, and the other 2 things I do is I always plan my day. First thing in the morning, the first thing I do is I plan. Like that's something that a business coach taught me 10 years ago. Is like productivity. Like you don't just get into your email, your WhatsApp, or your noise. You just plan a to-do list, the most important things you want to do. And I just do that every day. It's a habit, and the point of a habit is that it's not something I have to try to do. I don't aspire to plan my day every day. I plan my day every day. You don't aspire to brush your teeth, do you? You brush your teeth because it's a habit. You don't aspire to take your makeup off before you go to sleep. It's just a habit. So you want to get these like easy things. I'm not talking about like, running 10K every day. I'm saying like, can you walk 5,000 steps a day? Is it a habit? Is it that you wake up and you go for a walk? Is it that you go for a walk at lunch with the dog? Like, is it that you pick the kids up from school via foot? Like, can you build some basics in where they become so routine you don't even think about them? Just to the point where normally when I'm on Zoom at home in Bali, I'm on my treadmill. It's like I don't think about getting on the treadmill. I just get on the treadmill. So, and the last one is just no phone. Like I put my phone down at like 6, 7 o'clock at night, and I do not touch it. It does not come to bed with me. It charges in the kitchen, and I do not need to be on it. Like, why do I need to be on it? Like, really, all I do with my phone is pretty much work. Unless I'm doing a call with family, the phone goes down, the brain gets a break because we're inundated with brain. So they're my 5 habits, and I'd give everyone a little bit of homework just to. You already do things, but like, could you have some 5 healthy habits that are really easy to do, that encompass the sleep, the hydration, the movement, and potentially something around the productivity and detoxing a little bit from the dopamine, from the phone. And could you turn notifications on your phone off after 7 or 8 o'clock at night? Would it be the worst thing in the world if you didn't see if someone liked your video? It's like would it? Like you didn't see a WhatsApp message? Like just turn them off. Just get give yourself a break. That'd be mine for sure. What are yours, Guillaume? Or a couple of yours?
Yeah. So 10,000 steps.
Nice.
Falling off a little bit the bandwagon with the sleep. Very much on the hydration, and I've been really bad with. I've got this. So my phone doesn't have notification from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. But I've been really bad still looking at it in the evening. So it's why you need to come back in the autumn to reset, and like you go through those cycles and you need a bit of a reset. And so yeah, that's
Makes sense.
quite
I mean,
similar.
you're scaling a business, and what you're doing with Property Filter is amazing. And these things don't come for free. Like it would be phony for us to say you can scale a business and it's easy. It's not. You have to put the work in, and you're in that work zone just like I am. But we know that it can't be forever, and we know we're burning the candle. We need to address the balance, like you said, in autumn, and we need to have a break. And so it's the nature of things, but we need the self-awareness.
And they come in cycles. So, and then the fifth one is my double date Friday. So it's where I'm spending some time with my little one on a Friday, and I should take Mrs. Black on the date on a Friday, but let's say I always have one of the two dates. Well, that's how it's turned out. But yeah, this thing, you come with it with some intention, but it's a really good reminder. Actually, I should probably make it visible so that this is the thing. This is why I sat down and I thought these things through. So yeah, it's good reminder.
Put it on your phone screensaver. That's what you look at all the time.
Yeah. I'm gonna make someone jealous
or on your mirror.
if I change the screensaver. Yeah, I used to put stuff on the mirror, but she doesn't like it.
That's
She's wiping it all the time. So I need to find another hack. But it's
Ladies and gents, this is a good one. We call it the mirror of accountability, right? If you're vain like me and look in the mirror 20 times a day, yeah, just write your goals on a mirror in a dry marker, a black pen, whatever it is, weight loss. And like if you want to lose weight, for example, I remember when I was trying to lose some weight, I'd write my scale weight every day, 1 to 7 on my mirror. And it was like the mirror, you can't get away from it. You look at it all the time. There's nothing you can do. It's like, if you have a goal or you want to track your progress, writing things on the mirror is good. And then, then your cleaner comes in and completely destroys it. But,
but you're right, And the weight one is one that it works automatically. If you have a whiteboard or whatever, you write it by writing it every day, you just lose weight, like by not doing anything special than just writing it down, because you got the next day accountability. Therefore, you don't reach for the cookie box. So yeah. Usha is.
Well, I was just trying to think of the app that I use for habits, just to share it, because we started recommending. I'm trying to think what it's called. I'm looking at it now, but it hasn't got. I'm looking on my hotspot. Yeah, there's a few apps as well for habits. If you're struggling to remember, you can download some apps, habit apps. You can put the 5 things on your mirror. You've got to make it visible. Otherwise, you'll just let yourself down. Like, we are the first person to let ourselves down. So the whole thing of the 5-year plan, setting targets, when Guillaume knows, because he's on Property Entrepreneur, we give you like weekly, monthly, step-by-step, this is what you got to do, tick boxes. The big thing I said at the start of the call for those that were on it, and probably will end on this, is that success doesn't come overnight. It comes from a consistent taking action, like small steps, like executed relentlessly. It's like they're very, very small things, but you add them up and they create big things. And so just like you would lose weight over 3 months and you'd lose, 100 grams every couple of days or whatever, or half a pound a week, or whatever. It's like you don't lose it all in a week. The fad diets don't work, right? It's this consistentness of that works, and that's the biggest thing. Is like you've got to create a game, you've got to create a scorecard, you need a plan, you need to tick it off. You need to just be constantly looking at the goal, rather than just being busy taking action and being a busy fool.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Adam. I'm just scrolling up to a question from Usha, who says, what do you say to people who find it hard to align the values of business, which are like profit driven, that clash with more important other values, which are maybe non-capitalist, outcomes,
Great question. Love it. So, I mean, I live in Bali, and part of the reason why I'm there is because I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in being a good person. And Dan's book that he wrote isn't on business, it's on karma. So we are big on this. Like, we really believe that being a good person is the secret to success. And the way I marry the capitalist versus the monk, and I've spent time in temples in Thailand in the mountains a couple of times with monks and stuff. The way I balance it is that I believe that you get paid for adding value. So you mustn't see money as a bad thing. Like, if you are in that camp of like, your values are very spiritual and service led and humanity, then you don't want to believe the sort of capitalist pig sort of picture. It's like, I actually think that you get paid for adding value to people, so they're happy to pay you. Our clients are happy to pay us. Like, they pay us they voluntarily give us their money, like, because they are happy. And then we, as Guillaume knows, for Get Up and Give Back, we have a charity initiative. We've raised $500,000 in the last 4 years with our property entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are the lifeblood of our economy. And if you don't have entrepreneurs, you don't have jobs, you don't have tax, you don't have an economy. So you mustn't, there can be a bit of a rhetoric, which is that entrepreneurs are bad and people who are rich are bad. No, there might be some greedy ones or whatever that are horrible people, but I would actually say that the people I've met that are really successful are really nice. They're really nice people, because they focus on serving others, and they can use their money for good. And actually, in a capitalist society, if you don't have entrepreneurs, we don't have nurses, we don't have the NHS, we don't have schools, because it's the tax from the employees that people pay and the money they spend that actually generates. Unless we want to switch to communism where everyone just gets an allowance. Unfortunately, so I do think they're vilified a little bit, and I think you can be a force for good, and you can definitely change people's lives and make their lives better, and you can see that as serving and adding to humanity, rather than, it's not a taking thing, it's like it's a giving thing. That's how I hope I articulated that well, but that's how I make peace with it.
Yeah,
I'm not scared to talk about money, because if you don't add value, no one's going to pay you. Money's not bad. Money's not the root of all evil. It's like greed is, but it's like, so yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that. I think that was really
Great question.
really good question and really well put. So we are going to come to a close in a couple of minutes, because I know you've got a plane to catch, don't you? So I will just close by saying, if you enjoyed spending an hour with Adam, I think for the last time this year, he's running these 3-day workshops, in August. And if you want to know more about it, if you want to understand more about the blueprint that Dan created, we actually have a special bonus masterclass session tomorrow at the same time, 1:30, with Dan Hill himself, who is going to talk you through all of this. And they very, very kindly agreed to give us the best possible deal they've ever made for us Property Filter members. So if you do want to know this, I will ask the team if they have the link for tomorrow. Otherwise, you would have received another reminder today by email, that you'll be able to come and join us tomorrow at 1:30 again. So hoping for the team to have heard my voice and hear my play and drop the link. Otherwise, you can find it in your emails. Adam, do you have a closing sentiment for us today?
No, I've really enjoyed it. I really appreciate the time. And if anyone, look, at the end of the day, if anyone is interested in even listening to our podcast, if we can help in any way, that's what we're here for. So yeah, join in the session with Dan tomorrow. Dan's a great man. He's completely self-made and just a really nice bloke. And if anyone does want to come and spend 3 days with us at the Belfry, we have a money-back guarantee in the course. There's no hard sell from us. We just want to help you. So it would be great to meet you and spend 3 days with you. So,
okay, the link is here. Thank you so much. Thank you, team. Adam, thank you so much.
Teamwork. Thanks for the pleasure.
Yeah, it's been awesome speaking with you. It's been great to have just selfishly me having a conversation with you, and it's great to have a really cool audience, our Property Filter members to join as well. So yeah, thanks so much. Really appreciate your time, and do have a safe trip. And look forward to seeing you next month. Adam, thanks so much.
I just wish everyone the best of luck. Okay, just good luck going and get it. Just best of luck. Cheers,
guys.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, everyone.